Welcome to Solaris University. In this video, we'll show you how to set up an SQL data manager in XPressEntry. Now, we assume in this video that you have XPressEntry installed, which you see on my screen, on the right-hand side of my screen here, and that you have your SQL database ready, which you see in the right hand of my screen as well. I'm pulling in this video from a Secure 9000 3.0 database, and I'll just connect to the database so you can see. Right here in my database, within the Secure, it is the ACVS core database that I'll be pulling the data from. Now, the very first thing you want to do is to identify the tables that you'll be pulling the data from. In my case, I'll be pulling from, if you scroll down here, the personnel table. So that's access.personnel. And within that access and personnel, you also need to identify the columns that you want to pull from. In my case, I'll be pulling the last name, first name, middle name, the object ID from this database. Now, the last thing you want to check is where you're pulling your badge from. And in my case, I'm pulling this from the access.credential, which is right here. And within that database, I'm pulling, under the database, I'm pulling the object ID, and I'm pulling also the card number here. And I'm also mapping to the personnel table using the personnel ID. Once you've identified what you want to pull from these tables and also the database name, you can go into XPressEntry and first of all configure your SQL imports. Let's go into settings and let us go into the data manager and let us go into SQL import or export. So let's add a new import. Let's call this import Secure 3.0. And we want to change the connection type to SQL Server. And I already have my connection string in my clipboard. The data source is Secure 3.0, just as you saw in my database here. And the database is ACVS core and integrated security is true. So let's have a test query. So remember, we're taking from, let's take the first name from access.personnel, and let us use this to test the query. So once we're done verifying the table, next thing we want to do is to pull in the tables. The first table we want to pull in is the users table. So let's add that, and let's go ahead and select first name as first name, middle name as middle initial, and last name as last name, and then object ID as external ID from access.personnel. Let's hit the select. Once we have all the tables there, we can hit the auto map and just check that everything is mapped. We have the first name, middle initial, last name, and external ID. So that's it for the users. Next thing we want to pull in is the badges. And under that table, we want to select from the credentials table. So select object ID, external ID, card number as badge number, ID as external data from access.credentials. Okay, and now we want to run a PostSQL to update the badges table. And first we want to auto map, and we have the external ID, the badge number, and the external data. Let's run the PostSQL. In this case, we want to update badges set user ID equals select top one ID from users where users external ID equals badges external data. And so that this SQL doesn't run over and over again, we can say where user ID. Okay, so this should pull in the badges table and map it to the user. So let's go ahead and run our imports. Okay, fantastic. So we want to run the import again just to see that the records are not duplicated. As you can see, 0 records were changed here. And also in this case, 0 records were changed and 0 records were changed. Okay, so once we're done with that, we now go back into the SQL import, and under the data manager, we want to pull in a data manager called SQL import and hit save. Then we go into the data manager and we want to go into the setup and select the Secure 3.0 and hit OK. We can set this to run whatever frequency we want, maybe by the minute, say every 2 minutes or every 5 minutes. Hit done, enable the data manager and hit save. So once you have that saved, you can run the full sync at any time. So let's check the data that we pulled in. So as you can see, all the data has pulled in and the badges data has been mapped as well. If we just go right to the end, these are all simulated data that we pulled into Secure, and you can see some of the data here. And in this case, Dave Carter has 2 badges and they were all mapped. Now that the full sync is configured, you can run the full sync at any time by just going into the settings and under the data manager on the SQL import here, you can just hit the button for full sync and it will run the full sync and pull in the data. Any new data will be added, any data that is deleted will be removed from XPressEntry automatically. Now this brings an end to the demonstration of this feature. Please feel free to reach out to us at helpdesk@Telarus.com for any technical queries or sales@Telarus.com for any product inquiries. Thank you.